UFC 311 is in the books and it made history. Maybe not the history that everyone thought it was going to make with Father's Plan, but it made history with every single undefeated fighter losing. I'm talking Clayton Carpenter, Rinya Nakamura, Peyton Talbot, Umar Nurmagomedov. This was a historical night because Father's Plan did not come to fruition. And Merab got it done. Merab defended it against Umar Nurmagomedov, his toughest challenger yet. And Islam breaks Khabib's defense record. Every single undefeated fighter lost. I don't know. If you watched this whole card from start to finish, you enjoyed a great night of fights. Honestly, I need to start being a little bit more active on my socials. So go ahead and follow and I can start live tweeting these and give you my thoughts. Obviously, with the opener, we had Tagir Ulanbek versus Clayton Carpenter. And in my opinion, Clayton got the second round. It was a close one. But other than that, Tagir looked amazing at 125 and he is fucking thin, dude. I think Islam even made a joke that if he can't even go outside in the breeze because he's gonna blow away. That's how thin he is. He's taller than Islam and he makes that weight. I don't know how he does it, but he called out Alexander Pantoja after the fight. He said, "Hey, I want my shot. I want an opportunity to beat you. I think I'm the guy." This is going to be interesting. If he can go on a little bit of a run, obviously he is in the Nurmagomedov camp. He does train with Khabib, Umar, and Islam and their whole crew. They're absolutely amazing. He is a weapon. He went through a guy who just got his first loss, Clayton Carpenter, who is someone not to be overlooked because he came in actually looking pretty good. The second fight on the card, we had Ricky Turcos, and he is always an exciting fight, versus Bernardo Sopaj. And Sopaj absolutely cooked. He won. I got him winning all 3 rounds. And he came out with the victory. The third fight on the card in UFC 311 on the early prelims, Rinya Nakamura versus Muin Gafurov. And I cannot lie, I did not think Gafurov was going to give him these type of fucking problems. I did not. I thought Rinya was going to be able to cook. And I'm not saying walk through him easy peasy, but dude, I thought he was going to be able to do something. He got cooked. If you watch this fight, there was no finishes. Like I said, there was only 5 finishes on the entire card and 4 of them were on the main card. I'm not going to lie to you. It was still an exciting early prelims. It was still an exciting prelims even to get to the main card. This fight alone, Nakamura got dropped like 8 times in each round. Now I'm obviously exaggerating, but that's how it felt. Gafurov just looked like the best version of himself that we have ever seen. And he stopped the hype in Nakamura. Nakamura's got to go back to the drawing board, keep getting better, keep improving. But damn, like I said, the undefeated fighters, it was like there was a curse in the air in the Intuit Dome. And I'm not going to lie to you, every single one of them got cooked. It just seems like they were all off. They were all like just off their game. Now, obviously, Umar ends up with a broken hand, but we'll talk about that a little later. Now, Nakamura did look a little bit better as the fight went on and later into the third round, but Gafurov was still cooking. He was still doing well. I'm just saying Nakamura looked a little better, but still not enough to win the fight, obviously. And then we got Rosa versus Perez to end the early prelims. And it seemed like Perez's game plan was to get in close, get a body lock, and try to trip and just get top control and try to ground and pound or go for a submission. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's obviously what squeaked her out with the win because over time, Rosa was just hitting Perez with those leg shots. And over time, at the end of the fight, the last round, she could barely stand. Perez was switching, and her best bet was to just try to go back to the game plan and take her down. She was not able to stand very well. Now, obviously, she squeaked out with the win and got a win over Rosa. Well deserved. I do think that she did win the fight. Probably go Perez for all 3 rounds, to be honest with you, because even though Rosa had momentum at points and she did look good, she didn't take advantage of it. She didn't continue. She didn't pressure. She wasn't the aggressor. And I think that cost her this fight, in my opinion. She could have won this. And now Perez got a win over the number 9th ranked bantamweight. So we'll see how that goes. Now, to open up the prelims, we had Grant Dawson versus Diego Ferreira. And even though Diego just turned 40 that day and that night, I do not want to count him out. Even though he's not like some high-ranked guy, Grant still did what Grant does and just grinded it out. My point of view of Grant Dawson as a fighter is actually someone I enjoy watching, because even though some might not like grappling, all he's going to do is just try to wrestle you. He's grown. He's actually aggressive with it. He's not just trying to wrestle you and hold you down. He's going for submissions. He's trying to finish the fight. He's going to go for ground and pound. He's going to try to get your back. He's going to make a play to try to finish the fight. It's not just going to be boring. Oh, he's holding him. He's holding him. He can't really beat him up. And he's grown. He's gotten better. Obviously, as a wrestler, you have to have multiple dimensions just to lead to get to the wrestling, because obviously you don't start in a wrestling position, you're striking. So you have to get into that range to even wrestle. And he's grown and he's gotten better in that department. I'm interested to see where he goes in the future, because I think he's still 30, 31. He's still younger and he's still getting better. So his future in the sport could be like real high upside. Obviously, Grant comes away with the victory over Diego Ferreira, and we'll see how he goes in his next matchup. Now, I'm sorry, I actually do forget. I was wrong. There are 6 finishes on this entire card, because I missed this one where Elikana absolutely quit in the second round and Guskov was just annihilating him with fucking punches. And Guskov was just going in on him. And the ref would not end it until Elikana just basically sat down and looked at the ref and just like, please end this shit. You could tell in the second round, he absolutely just wanted out. Even though in the first round, Elikana looked pretty fucking good and had some opportunities against Guskov, but Guskov put that shit to rest. And Bakoev makes his debut in the UFC with a crazy ground and pound knockout of Zachary Reese. Very disgusting. Great timing by the ref to stop that before more damage was done. That was not necessary. And I'm just thankful that he ended it early so Reese wasn't going to get more damage done to him, because it was a very, very nasty ground and pound finish by Bakoev in his debut of the UFC. So great on him. Wow, we get Peyton Talbot versus Raoni Barcelos. This was such a test for Peyton. Peyton got taken down, held down. He defended well, and there were opportunities that he got out of and he got back to his feet, but it just wasn't enough. Barcelos just kept coming and coming and coming. And Peyton, not necessarily saying that he didn't know what to do, but like I mentioned earlier, it was like every undefeated fighter had some sort of curse on them. And it was just like he was off. Like he didn't look like Peyton Talbot. Now, that could be because of him. That could be because of his opponent in such a great test. And maybe it was a bump in competition too fast. And that is also a possibility for all of these undefeated fighters. Obviously, Umar is a little different, but he still would be an undefeated fighter that lost. So I'm not going to exclude him from that. Barcelos is a nasty veteran. And for him to be able to do this against a Talbot was great for his career and his stock. Again, every single undefeated fighter lost. So if you had the underdogs, you made out with some big fucking money that night. Good on you if you did. Honestly, Barcelos got every single round. I think someone even gave him a 10-8 round, which I don't think was necessary in my opinion, but it is what it is. I'm not the judge. I think it's a little crazy, but he did get a 10-8 on Peyton. And then that was the end of the prelims. We'll see what his next test is. Obviously, I don't think he's just going to automatically lose his stardom because of one loss. It is what it is. You got to take your bumps, but it depends on how he's going to come back from this. Then to open up the main card, if you're not Dutch, you ain't much. We got Rainier de Ridder getting a submission win over Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, I know that there was a lot of controversy with you, Rampage Jackson, recently on the podcast. I watched the whole thing, I think around like first 15, 20 minutes. It was kind of rough. You could tell that there was obviously tension between them based on the comment that Rampage left on Kevin Holland's post on Instagram prior to the MVP fight, where he did some sort of like snake thing. I don't remember exactly what it is, but either way, it rubbed Kevin the wrong way, especially somebody that he did not know very well, or at least friendly like that. Obviously, if you're going to joke with your buds, it's somebody you know, not somebody you just randomly talk shit about, which I guess in their case, they didn't really know each other. And that's where he was kind of not feeling very good about it. And that's where the tension was caused. Over time, it seemed like they squashed it by the end of the podcast. But here he gets out in the first round with a tap, makes him tap, and the Ritter passed with flying colors. So I'm curious to see where he goes next. He called for a top 10 competitor. We'll see if he gets it. Plus, he was talking about going for double champ status here in the UFC, trying to recreate what he did in one championship. That is a tall task to do. So good luck, dude. Wow, Jailton Almeida gets a finish unlike I've ever thought before. Good on him, because I normally do give him so much shit for not going for the finish. I'm glad he did. I'm just glad he got by quick, because Yuri and Hill was next. And even though Yuri knocked out Hill in the second or third round, I think it was the third round, it was an amazing fucking fight. If you watched that, you watch one of the greatest fights at 205 that you're going to see to date. Does Yuri get his third shot at Alex Pereira, or does Ankalaev get through Alex Pereira? And then does Alex get an immediate rematch? Yuri's got to wait in the background. There are a lot of moving parts at 205 right now, and it is fun to watch. Now, the sad part is what happens to Hill. Now, it's not that he can't immediately get back, but he's on a 2-fight skid. Lost to the champ, lost to now the number 1 contender who's lost to the champ twice. Interesting to see, because you're in a tough spot. You lost to the guy who lost to the champ twice, and you lost to the champ, and you wanted to win this to be the number 1 contender against the get back against the champ, who then he's going against his toughest fight in Ankalaev. And in my opinion, I know I'm probably in the minority on this. Ankalaev only deserves a shot at the title based on Pereira cleaning out the division. That's how I feel about it. But it is what it is. We'll see how that goes. And obviously that is, dependent on whoever wins, which will give Yuri the fight, or they run it back. Who knows? Yuri's finish of Hill was insane. Hill's eye blew up. And then apparently they were drinking at the bar the night after. So good on them that they put it aside, and it does not seem like we'll get any built up drama or manufactured drama between him and Pereira, or him and Yuri like Hill and Pereira. So interesting to see how some fighters handle these losses. And I know it's emotional. I know it's vulnerable. It's the most vulnerable sport in the whole world. You can get knocked out on fucking live pay-per-view. Just, it's a tough sport, man. You gotta love and respect every single one of them that go in there and perform for us fans. Thank you very much. Now the co-main event. Father's plan does not come to fruition. Umar Nurmagomedov lost to Merab Dvalishvili, and oh my god, I love it. But I love it in a storyline sense, because Merab did what everyone thought he could not do, and he had a horrible staph infection, so bad that it was basically a cut all the way up his shin, and it got infected, and it kept getting worse, and then it healed like literally the Wednesday before the fight, and not healed fully. I'm talking only healed in terms of the incision or the cut. The whole thing was still ballooned up and still swollen, and it was insane to see that he even got past the commission with that. But he explained on Ariel Helwani that apparently he just showed him the same leg twice after conversation or something like that. I don't know what the fuck, but a warrior. Thankful, appreciative, absolute beast. You gotta love guys like Merab, because he was even doing construction just to get to this point in his life. I mean, just like Demetrius Johnson early on in his career, still doing construction work. I mean, Merab at one point there was videos that came out of him doing construction after his win on Merab, and he's like beating up the wall and like doing elbows and shit. It is just amazing to see the story and how these guys have gotten to this point in their life. This was clearly the biggest victory of his life. He is now officially the champion. If you live by the champ has to defend the title to be the champ, if you live by that, well, guess what? He's done it. He's cemented now. He has done what even Conor McGregor has not done. Defended a UFC championship. So good on you, Merab. Umar's broken hand or not, I do personally think that Umar won the first 2 rounds and Merab took the last 3 championship rounds. I don't think that Umar's hand was the only issue. Now, obviously, that's a problem. Obviously, that's a fucking problem. You lose one of your best weapons, that's a problem. What I am going to say is he did look a little gassed. He did look a little worn down. And the one thing Khabib said prior to this was his pressure and his freestyle wrestling are what he is better over Umar. He said it in the countdown, not me. I'm not making this up. Khabib said it himself. So don't act like Merab is just some guy. He's a real champion. He's very, very good. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Sean O'Malley. We'll see how this goes. Does he get a rematch? Does Umar get the rematch? Does Corey Sandhagen get the rematch? Is there a number one contendership to get a rematch at the champ? I don't know. We'll see. It is interesting to see what happens after this, but Merab, you deserve your time off. Thank you very much. You denied Father's plan and you took Umar's. So there ain't no debating that in my opinion. Shoot, I still think Umar could be the best Nurmagomedov or the best person out of that entire camp. I don't think we've seen the best version of him. Now he's going to be out for a little bit with that broken hand, and I'm curious to see how well and quick he's going to recover, because he's a little bit of a maniac. I think he even broke his forearm prior to this, and he recovered, had to take some time off, and I think came back a little too quick. Crazy shit, man. He is a beast. So don't sleep on Umar. I do think Umar will be back, but I didn't have a question of his gas tank against Corey Sandhagen in their 5-round main event of a fight night. But against Merab, he did look gassed. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think. But it's the only difference in those fights that I saw was his gas tank. And I don't know if that's only due to his hand. Now, when it comes to the main event, we had Islam Makhachev with his first round submission with a Darce over Renato Money Moicano. I did say going into this could be his easiest defense or his hardest, toughest challenger. And a lot of y'all came back and started commenting that it was his easiest fight, which is a little fucked up. I ain't gonna lie to you, because Moicano did piece him up a little bit. I know he might have tripped, might have gotten wobbled. I ain't here to debate that. But then I thought he was doing well defending. He did heels on the hips, got up, but then obviously getting up was the fucking problem. Now, that was the problem. You went like this, you gave him your neck, and that was the night. So, I mean, it is what it is. I thought he wasn't too bad, but you make one mistake against these guys. You make one simple mistake, getting up the wrong way, rolling wrong, doing XYZ, he's gonna capitalize. That's the difference. That's the gap. One mistake. That's the gap. That's how good these guys are. That's the competition. It is what it is. Islam showed us that he is the best lightweight in the world. Don't matter who it is. Don't matter what it is. Could be anybody. Put it in front of him that weighs 155. He's going to win. Obviously, things are going to get a little weird after this. Does he fight Bilal? Does he fight Ilya? Does he fight Charles? Does he fight Armin? Clearly a lot of options on the table for the champ. I also don't think that this makes him pound for pound better than John Jones. I still got John Jones as my number one pound for pound. Overall, though, I think it was a fantastic night of fights. UFC 311 delivered. The Intuit Dome, I ain't gonna lie to you, I thought it was better than the Sphere, and that's just my personal opinion. I love the outside ring, the halo. I love that the inside had its own. It was just pretty cool. It was just so fucking fun to watch on TV or on pay-per-view or whatever, because I mean, both. But regardless, let me know what you think of the card. Let me know what you think of the Intuit Dome. They got to go back, right? And every single undefeated fighter lost. What's next for them? I really don't know. So I'll see y'all then. See you in the next one. Peace.